I don't even think are on the bubble. I think you get that 7th win in the regular season. You beat a team for a third time that might also make it there in Mizzou. You're in. It's just a matter of what seed and where you got to play and what campus you're visiting. Might be going to Waco, might be going to Austin, might be going to Ames. Who knows? Who knows? Same with the men. You just know you're not playing on an opponent's home floor for the men's tournament. And the women's obviously a little bit different. We should be finding out sometime soon about the coaches' awards for the SEC postseason, because last week this was about the time that we got our update on the women's player of the year and Samara Spencer named freshman of the year. So this should be coming out today. Usually got 8 players on the first and second team, and you'll have your all-defensive team, your player of the year, your coach of the year, and all that stuff. These are the coach votes, not the media votes. So
which means more? I mean, do coaches' votes mean more because those are the people that obviously have watched more film than anybody? Do they, they had a game plan against you than just, Joe Smo like us that watch these things?
A point has been made to me by by Mike Neighbors that can you really trust the votes when you don't know who they're coming from when it's the coaches? Because there could be
the coach, could be an assistant, SID, the janitor down the hall.
Well, coaches can't. First of all, the coach can't vote for anybody on their own team. But there are, you can kind of get a sense of if you vote for one guy on one team, then maybe that elevates a guy on your team somewhere. And you can't, since they're anonymous votes. You kind of they can keep their reasoning to themselves. So I usually go with the coaches, I guess, because of the reason you said. But I do think there might be some, lack of a better term, like political reasons why they might vote this way or that way. So I'm not sure. I just know. Look, if J.D. Notae is not a unanimous selection for all first teams, something's wrong. Like I don't expect him to be SEC Player of the Year. I think Oscar Tshiebwe will be. I think Notae deserves a lot of consideration for it.
I don't think it needs to be unanimous for Tshiebwe. I think that JD deserves to at least get a few votes. I don't think that Oscar should have to worry about. I think it'll probably be somewhere around a 10-4 mark, maybe even 11-3, but JD has played phenomenal against so many guys, and I think that, like you said, we at least know one vote won't go to Oscar. That'd be the vote from the Kentucky coaching staff. So I think that should be given to JD Notae.
Right, and then who knows for Defensive Player of the Year? Could potentially Jalen Williams be there, or is it going to be Walker Kessler? I mean, you can look at some of the votes. I saw USA Today put their postseason awards out, and Tshiebwe is a unanimous selection amongst their writers for SEC Player of the Year. I think these are the writers that cover each of the schools, and wherever Gannett has a somebody covering. So Bruce Pearl Coach of the Year, Notae all first team unanimous, but it's different for that vote because they have 5 players on the first and second team. On this one that the SEC will release, it's 8. So there's a little bit more room. I would expect Jalen Williams should be on the first team, I think. I mean, if you're going to look at the numbers, second leading rebounder, all these double-doubles. The charges, I don't know if they're like an official statistic or anything, but everybody knows about it. And you know what he means to this team. Seth Davis put him on his all-glue team, which is about as good of a non-real list to be on at the end of the season.
It's a good one to have under the belt.
Justin Smith was on that same list last year. So you got to have somebody that glues the team together, and obviously Jalen was it. But I think he belongs on a first team. Maybe I'm just wearing Razorback glasses when it comes to that.
I don't just depending on, and really just when it comes to All-American or All-Conference teams, do they do it by position or just the 5 guys? And especially the way that basketball is now, we've talked about it multiple times throughout this season, basketball being such a positionless sport now, to where a guy who in previous years would have been looked as a true center is now a forward, and can even be, if his ball handling skills are good enough, could even be a stretch guard or a guard that plays more off the ball than normal. Like, if you go with just the 8 best players, I think Jalen Williams is in there. Now, if you have to go with Jalen having to go up against Walker Kessler, up against Oscar Tshiebwe, and a few other guys from around the league for that first team All-American spot, he might be a second team. But the only thing that I think I would cry out injustice is if he was left off both of them.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
Because that just can't happen.
Oh, it's pretty obvious what he means and how good he's been. I mean, even if you just look at the numbers, and I think sometimes people just look at the numbers anyway. Are we worried about a loss to Tennessee? Or is it just –
no.
I would have been nervous if they just had their heads handed to them in the second half too and just, like, took a game off. But, man, a comeback like that, in an atmosphere like that, with what still was on the line, maybe – I mean, look, it's not as good as a win, but that's about as good of a loss as you can have going into the postseason. Also considering one of the guys that turns the engine for you sometimes when it comes to energy, Audis Toney, was out, and we don't know if he'll play during the SEC tournament. So, I mean, that really is an encouraging loss. Sometimes – so you need to get a loss out of the way, right? Not getting your ass kicked.
That's what they say.
Not getting your butt kicked. Like competing, being able to bounce back, showing basically what you showed all season, which was a lot of heart, a lot of hustle, and a lot of gel, a lot of glue. I think that's what that second half kind of felt like for the Razorbacks. So it's not a bad loss at all going into the postseason.
No, I don't think it is. Now, it all depends on how well you follow that up, right? Can't be going to the SEC tournament here this week and losing on Friday. You've got to, follow it up with a win, get that momentum back, get back into that win column there. But I think you're exactly right. Without Audis Toney, I think it just took time to figure out of who's going to take his minutes, because we've talked about it a lot this season. When you have guys like Audis Toney, like J.D. Notae, like Stanley Umude, Jalen Williams that are constantly playing, right around or north of 30 minutes a game, and you have such a tiny small rotation that you already use, it's kind of troublesome. And that's what happened is, how do you fill those minutes? Where do you get that productivity from? Where do you get the same type of play and intensity that Audis Toney comes from on your bench? And, I don't think that they played terribly, but, I mean, to just be honest, I mean, KK Robinson and Jackson Robinson, they haven't played. They've barely gotten any minutes. So for anybody to be mad or disappointed, upset at Jackson or KK, I mean, these guys are as cold can be. I haven't looked it up, but I guess between the two of them, they've probably played 6 minutes in a month before this game.
You're going to see a few more minutes from them in the SEC tournament.
You're going to have to, because you need it.
Depending on how quickly Audis can heal from this injury, hopefully you won't have to see them in the NCAA tournament. Because you're right. I mean, over this stretch of the previous 15 games where he'd won 14 of them, it was just garbage time for both of them, really just to clean things up at the end of a blowout win. So, and this was the one. And
it hasn't been many blowout wins in that stretch either. There's been a lot of games that have come down to the wire.
Well, this is the one thing that the team really hasn't dealt with since December, when you were working, Trey Wade back into the lineup. I know Kamani had the ankle injury too in January, but that wasn't one of the starters. So at least it's happening now too. End of the regular season, just before the SEC tournament. It feels like, from what Muss is saying,
you got 2 weeks.
You're not going to play. He's not going to play it. So anyway, it's championship week 2. Now we get all these tournaments to start for the men's and I guess some of the women's tournaments as well. So the excitement of March really underway, and gosh, this is going to be tons of fun. 877-377-6963 to get with us in these next couple of hours. Connor O'Gara will hit with us in about 18 minutes. He had Sam Pittman on the SDS podcast recently, so we'll certainly hit on that with him. He pointed out also on a column recently that Arkansas, and I didn't realize this, Arkansas has not won back-to-back, has not won an NCAA tournament game in back-to-back years since the late 1990s.
Wow.
So, wow. Kind of naughty. We got baseball that won 2 out of 3 again.
Which they tell me isn't bad.
A little bit worried about the lineup, although the bats did break out a little bit at the end of the doubleheader on Saturday. Got some stuff to touch on that. And it sounds like Drew sat next to the single most annoying sports fan in the history of sports. So we'll hit on that after the break. Still annoyed. Yeah, Drew still can't deal with this. We're going to ask you who your most annoying fan of all time is. I think we all have about 2 or 3 that are on our hit list. So stay with us on a Monday. Halftime right back.
So I can't imagine why we've all got time enough to cry. I was walking down the street one day.
Arkansas, will you make the Final Four in them wacky uniforms with the pigs with horns? And did I hear you say you were playing a game today with the home crowd yelling, woo, pig suey? Hey, those pigs may be hogs, but they're kosher to me. Capiche?
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas wins the national championship!
Harry Robinson Salisal Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal.
Sports fans, it's March Madness. Where are you going to bet? I know where I will. BUSR, of course. NCAA basketball, NBA, MLB, you name it, they got it. Besides sports and racing, you can play over 300 casino games at BUSR.com. And remember, no download is needed to play these games. Sign up today and get an exclusive 100% deposit bonus by going to BUSR.com/morningrush. That's BUSR.com/morningrush. Bet with confidence. Bet with BUSR.
Law's Drug Store in Fort Smith now has vaccinations available for ages 5 and up. Law's Drug Store has the Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Moderna vaccines. These vaccines are safe and effective in preventing severe cases of COVID. Call 452-6116 to schedule your appointment or stop by Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Did you know that sometimes roof damage goes unnoticed? Have you seen a few houses in your neighborhood get new roofs in the past couple of years? It could be that your roof has damage. Brothers Roofing and Restoration is a properly licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Brother Alexander has over 25 years of experience in home insurance adjusting and residential roofing. Let Brother come do a free inspection of your roof. He'll give you a complete analysis of your roof and work with your insurance company if it needs to be replaced. So call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother to inspect your roof.
Have you been looking for your next place to call home and just haven't found the right one? Then it's time to check out the properties at Trinity Multifamily. With a variety of apartments, duplexes, townhomes, and houses, there is surely one to fit your needs. Whether it's in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas, or Central Arkansas that you are looking at, they have you covered. Give them a call today. Trinity Multifamily, 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
We're remixed and remastered at TGI Fridays in Fort Smith. Some of your favorite apps, drinks, and desserts are now even better the second time around. Check out the sizzling cheesy bacon mac and cheese bites, a blast from the past with a whole new vibe. Also back are the famous Fridays fried mushrooms and the ultimate cheesy bacon cheeseburger. And all new at Fridays is the Oreo Madness, house-made giant Oreo cookies with cookies and cream ice cream coated in red and white sprinkles, served with chocolate sauce and a fresh strawberry. Come by or order online. It's your locally owned TGI Fridays at I-540 and Rogers in Fort Smith.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
The Bus is on the road, and so are we. Our live coverage at the SEC Tournament in Tampa is brought to you by Crane Automotive in Fayetteville, WT Equipment in Springdale, and Twin Peaks in Rogers.
Listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett. Want to jump in the conversation with the guys? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963.
Well, Ty is headed down to Tampa for SEC tournament coverage soon. It's going to be a lot of fun to listen to. I hope he doesn't sit next to one of the more annoying media members in the SEC. You got to be nice. You got to be professional. You got to be quiet mostly when you're sitting courtside at a basketball game. You guys in the stands, though, you can do whatever you want.
Mostly.
Ty's representing all of us.
And he's not going to wear socks or shoes. He's wearing chacos and flip-flops and Hawaiian shirts. And
he's painting his toenails.
Now when I try to get people on, and the only person they've met from ESPN Arkansas, when we start getting turned down, it's definitely not our fault.
He's really trying. He's going to paint his toenails?
No, he's getting a pedicure because
I may have added the painting part.
He'll probably get a clear coat. I mean, if you're getting a pedicure, you might as well just get a clear coat.
The pedicure's fine. I mean, go ahead and do it. I mean, you might as well. If the first time you do it, it's never going to be the last.
I've never had a pedicure before. I also don't like people to touch my feet.
Well, then don't get a pedicure.
Exactly.
I'm too
ticklish.
That's
all it is.
I am too. See, that's the thing. Like I would just be like, ew, stop.
Just giggling the whole time.
Yeah, giggling, and then I feel like they'd touch the wrong part of my foot, and I just go bam, like instinctively just kick them in the face. And I don't want to do that to anybody.
You know, though, I mean,
I'm not a violent man.
If you're a guy wearing flip-flops at a basketball game, chances are you shouldn't be a member of the media wearing flip-flops.
You shouldn't. But this is who our fearless leader and boss has chosen to represent us, and I don't know why. I cannot stress to you how many times I have said in front of Tommy from the hours of 6 to 9 in the last 9 months, hey, I'd be happy to go. Hey, I'd love to do that. I'd love to represent the station. Hey, if he doesn't want to go, I'll go. Yeah. I have said it 300 times.
Volunteering is not the way to get it done. Actually doing it. You're going to have to just, book the flight yourself and give him a receipt and tell Ty, hey, till next time, my friend. It's the only way you're going to get it done.
That's the only way that this station is going to survive, with good representation. People that might actually look like they're working. They're on a job. I will wear college shirts. I will wear khakis. I will wear shoes.
Well, these tournaments are so much different from the atmosphere in a regular season game. I mean, there's the intermittent fan at Bud Walton Arena that roots for the opposing team. Maybe that person will be a little bit annoying. Hopefully they'll be a little more intelligent and just shut up throughout the entire game. At championship tournaments, this is where you have, I see at the women's tournament a whole bunch of Tennessee women's basketball fans that stick around and watch every single game because that's what they've been doing for 30, 35 years. They're mostly very well behaved. But there's going to be some random kind of heckling going on between fans now and again, and you're just sitting next to people that you don't automatically have that bond with because you root for the same team. And I mean, it sounds to me like, Drew, you had something happen to you this last week, and you were was it a Memphis Tigers game?
Yes,
or was this,
yes. I was at the Memphis-Houston game on Sunday at 11 o'clock.
So everybody in this building should be friends, right? I mean,
yes.
When you meet somebody
theoretically
out in the diaspora from wherever it is you're from, and you hit on, oh my gosh, you're a Steelers fan. I'm a Steelers fan too. We're going to be best friends as long as we know each other now because we have this one thing in common. And it's how many people inside the city when you lived there did you absolutely despise just because of the way they looked? You all root for the same team, but it doesn't matter. You can be annoyed by somebody that you have this one thing in common from.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't even have that in common with him. So here's how the whole thing starts. One thing, I wasn't going to say anything because I've done this personally myself. I get back from grabbing a beer at halftime, and there were 2 empty seats next to me and the missus. And then there was somebody sitting in them. And he asked, is somebody sitting here? I said no, because I've done that before. You know, you're sitting up top. You're sitting in the nosebleeds. You're kind of checking it out all first half. Nobody goes down there. You mosey on down there at halftime. I'm all for it, man. You want the best view? Go for it. But here's where it got annoying. Memphis is up by like 24, 25 at halftime. I mean, we are kicking the ever-you-know-what out of the number 14 team in the country, Houston Cougars. And this guy, before the second half starts, goes, I don't know why everybody's so excited. They're going to cut it down to a 7-point game here in the next 2 minutes. And I said, excuse me? He's like, yeah, Houston's way too good. Penny doesn't know what he's doing. He's not real basketball, and he goes on to tell me how he's more of an SEC basketball fan, that he's from Nashville and just decided to come down because Vandy sucks. But he was going to originally go over to Knoxville, but just couldn't find the tickets because, you know, that's where real basketball fans are, and just going at it with me. And then every time Houston does something, or every time there's a turnover or anything that goes in the game, he's just in my ear talking. And I who did he show up with? Nobody. He was by himself.
So he sat by himself. He needed somebody to talk to.
I guess he wanted personal interaction, but he was going about it the wrong way. Like, at first, I was nice. I was like, oh, yeah. You know, kind of that I'm acknowledging your existence, but please tell by my tone to stop talking to me.
I'm trying to watch the game.
Exactly. And then he goes from me to the guy on the other side of him. Blah, 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 blah. That guy stops talking to him, interacting with him. Then he goes to the people in front of us. And the stuff that just comes out of his mouth, the arrogant, knowing all tones that he had. And the thing that got me, and I didn't say anything because I was there as a fan. I was there to enjoy the game. The thing that got me was him thinking that he really did know more than me or anybody else. Because, like I said, he's like, yeah, I'm an SEC basketball fan. I probably watch more SEC than anybody. And, like, started talking about stuff. And, like, I interacted with him one. I was like, all right, just let's see what this guy's base knowledge is. I was like, what's your thoughts on Arkansas? Overrated.
That's the problem.
Overrated.
You made an immediate mistake just by asking him a question.
I did. Just because I was like, let's see if this guy actually knows what he's talking about. And
the first question asked to somebody that is having, how to put it, verbal stomach problems, the first question releases everything.
It is.
It releases it all.
It was so bad. And, like, the arrogance of it, of him saying that nobody here knows more about basketball, and especially SEC basketball, than me. And I looked over to my girlfriend. I was like, I
nice
know
to meet you, Pat Bradley.
I know he doesn't know who I am, but
you should have said it.
Like, this is my job. Like, bro, I'm pretty sure you don't get paid to do this.
Could you have broken out a "Do you know who I am"? I'm the Reverend Paul Andrew Barrett.
I almost wanted to just, like, I still haven't gotten business cards from here yet. I'm still waiting on that. I wish I had one just so I could have just gotten it out of my wallet and handed it to him.
You started right after those all went out, so it's probably going to be a couple years.
So it's going to be a minute till I get them. But just the arrogance and annoyingness of him, like, that was my first Memphis basketball game this year because I was supposed to go to the one in Tennessee or in Nashville. Got canceled due to COVID.
Right.
So it was my literally last chance to go to a regular season basketball game, something that I have been to at least one for 27 straight years, because I know every year I've been on this earth.
And this dude ruined your experience.
And he tried to ruin the experience. He tried to.
At your alma mater, the last chance you had to watch them in person, this guy ruined it. Did you get his phone number? Could we get him on the show?
I didn't get his name. I didn't even get his name.
Come on. I mean, I felt like maybe you guys might have made really, really fast friends.
No, not at all.
Invited him over for a weekend and the fort at some point.
No, he left with about
talk basketball all weekend.
He left with about 3.5 minutes left to go in the game, and as soon as he walked out, the guy to his left, me and him just made eye contact, and he just went, oh, and I was like, I know, right? And he's like,
man,
thank God.
I'm gonna go because I know all about the traffic patterns here in Memphis.
Oh no, he did say something about traffic. He said, what did he say? Because I think it was like a comment about Nashville. He's like, oh, y'all got more people here than you do in traffic.
Oh, man. So we need most annoying fan stories, and we already have a tweet from Hog Noxious. He says he probably needs to listen to classic rock until noon. Unfortunately, obnoxious, I don't put you in that category.
No.
I don't put you in that category.
There might be some other fan bases that do, but we don't.
Yeah. We'll defend you to the death.
We're with you.
So, yeah, you're
By
one
the
of
way,
us.
when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Right, and don't act like you know everything.
Exactly.
I
just killed me.
I always look for the couples where the man is pointing everything out to the girl at the sporting event. And like, yeah, that's a conversation that you really want to get in on at a moment's notice. It's not always the drunks. Not always the drunks. It's the ones who are completely sober and think that they've got a lot to explain. Oh, boy. Connor O'Gara coming up after the break. I primed the pump on this with him. And he also had Sam Pittman on his most recent SDS podcast. So we'll hit on that and much more with Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. First, we want to remind you about the Fence Man. Not only the company that you can trust when it comes to quality fence building and gates, but they're also looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. So apply in person if you're a fence builder or have experience building at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay, and you get a $500 sign-on bonus, too. That's the Fence Man. Apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer. More halftime after this.
You never go. You talk about your girl from head to toe. I said your mouth's moving fast and your brain's moving slow. You talk too much. You never shut up. I said you talk.
Hello, Discover here to explain our cash back match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. Then we match that cash back in your first year. And that's why we call it Cashback Match. Now to recap and say cashback one more time. We match all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year automatically. Discover. Accept.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Really happy to announce that Manscaped is now supporting the Hit That Line podcast network. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and they're offering you the new Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle Performance Package. Join over 4 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Just enter the code HTL at manscaped.com. Again, that's HTL at manscaped.com. I think if my math's right, that's 8 million balls. Inside this package, you're going to find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Provider toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. The Boxers and Shed travel bag are a free addition, and they bring it to another level. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code HTL at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code HTL. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, Sakhalin.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
The phrase in dire straits originated in the 1400s from sailors having to carefully navigate their vessels through narrow passages to avoid a shipwreck. So Far Away from Dire Straits is a song lamenting the struggle of a long-distance relationship over the phone. Mark Knopfler said, "It's a joke. It can't really be done over a long period of time because you both get exhausted with it. Sin has put us in dire straits with God, and that's why he feels so far away." Jesus said the passage to God is a narrow way, and he promised when he went so far away, the Holy Spirit would be here to stay. This isn't some hunch or intuition, but a conviction navigating you to God's holy word. When you have a real relationship with God, you have the person of the Spirit living inside you, guiding your walk of life every step of the way. Don't trust your feelings. Look up John chapter 16 and see if
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Every time I look into your loving eyes, I see love that money just can't buy.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Follow the guys on Twitter at PhilElsonPXP, at Matt Travis, and at DBarrett36. Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
And we've got Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South, national columnist, and always follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. And Connor, appreciate your time as always, man. What you got going on these days? You have I know the Combine was over this last weekend. That's nothing that I was really tuned into. There's tons of basketball. Got basketball tournaments this week. So what is it you're focusing on these days?
I am. I'll be dialed into basketball pretty much like starting Wednesday through the weekend. Adam Spencer heads up our basketball coverage and does such a great job for Saturday Down South in that department. But I'm actually just kind of getting caught up on things after spending a weekend. My brother was in town. His wife was in town. We actually went to Arnold Palmer Invitational down here in Orlando. We did that on Friday. So it was a sports weekend in some ways and kind of nice to be able to get away for a little bit. But, I saw, big news in the SEC was the Jaden Daniels edition by LSU. But, yeah, it's pretty much basketball mode from this point out, or me just getting mad at Combine stuff like Traylon Brooks getting knocked by sites like PFF for not being DK Metcalf or Odell Beckham. So I get, which is fair. I guess he's technically not. He is Traylon Burks. But, I'd say a variety of things are going on right now. But we'll get fully dialed into basketball probably later this year.
Tell me what you think about Daniels to LSU, former Arizona State quarterback. Where does he fit in? And where does he fit in for Brian Kelly?
Well, I thought Miles Brennan was going to be the guy, and he might still be. I mean, that's kind of the crazy thing. And the ironic thing about Miles Brennan is that, for those who kind of followed his story, he was kind of the blue chip guy, but everybody always said he's going to have to gain weight to be able to play quarterback at LSU, and then he finally gains weight and in trying to replace Joe Burrow, and then over the course of the last 2 years, he played in 3 games because of injuries. So I think Brian Kelly looked at that situation and basically just decided he didn't want to necessarily rely on him to be his starter. And that is a full quarterback room that Brian Kelly has done a masterful job of building up, man. Like, everybody made fun of the first dancing video with Brian Kelly, but that was with Walker Howard, who was the incoming 5-star quarterback who was committed to the previous staff. So, kind of lost in the shuffle. That was a really big commitment to keep. And then, oh, by the way, you still got Garrett Nussmeier, who was billed as the next up-and-comer and was a true freshman this past season and was getting some reps in for Max Johnson. So, if I'm Jaden Daniels, I'm actually surprised that he entered the quarterback room that looks as full as it is. But Brian Kelly has, 4 guys that I think a lot of Power 5 programs would really, really want. And all 4 of those guys, if they enter the transfer portal tomorrow, obviously Jaden Daniels being most recent of that, they would have a significant market. So I tip my cap to LSU. I think Jaden Daniels is going to end up probably being the guy right now. But, yeah, it's not easy to build up that quarterback room when you take over like Brian Kelly did.
You did good stuff digging up some of the things that the NCAA tournament bound SEC basketball teams have not done and have a chance to do. And I mean, Here's one that really blew me away. I hadn't realized it had been since 98-99, the last time that Arkansas had won games in tournaments back-to-back years. So, I mean, it feels like a foregone conclusion that they're going to get a good seed. You just can't take first-round victories for granted. But, man, you really did some digging for this. And you went with the 6 teams that we know are going to go into the tournament. And right now I'm not quite sure if you're going to get a 7th or an 8th. Maybe Florida or an A&M might be on the bubble, but it's looking like 6, and that's about it.
Yeah, I did have Florida in there as well. I had to stretch it a little bit, coming up with all of these 21st century feats that are on the table for every SEC team that's, on the cusp of an NCAA tournament berth. And for Florida, because what is Mike White going to do that Billy Donovan hasn't, right? Like, it's so much easier for Muss, obviously, and for like Nate Oates at Alabama, and Bruce Pearl at Auburn. Like, we can easily come up with stuff, but yeah, for looking at it for Florida, it's a little bit all over the place. Yeah, I mean, think about that, and it's such a difficult thing to do to get to that second weekend, but I think it's so important, man. Like, I truly think in college basketball, like, you can't just judge a coach by NCAA tournament success. That's why I always kind of push back when people will say that Rick Barnes isn't a good coach because of what's happened in the tournament. He hasn't been to an Elite Eight since 2008, and despite the fact that he's got 25 NCAA tournament appearances in his coaching career. But, yeah, you look at a situation like Arkansas, and what would that do for the program? It would show that year in, year out, it doesn't really matter what the roster looks like. Eric Musselman is capable of getting a team to that level. Now, obviously, he's had guys that stay to the team, but think about how much he's done with the transfer portal and how much he's used that to his advantage, and that's really becoming the norm across the conference. Florida's 7 leading scorers or whatever are all former transfers. I mean, obviously, you've seen teams like Auburn rely on that a lot, and Walker Kessler and K.D. Johnson, the minutes that they provided. So, yeah, it's just kind of an interesting thing to look at, and there would be a lot of people in Arkansas, of course, who would be feeling like that program will have taken a next step if they can get to that second weekend. I think that should be the goal for this year's squad.
And Connor, one thing that I love that Saturday Sound South does the best is they know how to compliment one SEC team while riling up another. And what better way do y'all do that than by giving out awards and, best atmosphere in this. And last week, I think it was last Thursday, y'all put out the best SEC hoops team, gave Arkansas the best coaching and best atmosphere. But boy, oh boy, why do people get so upset about this? And one of the arguments that I got sucked down into a Twitter hole about was the difference between best arena and best atmosphere. I mean, what is the difference?
It's fair, and I've debated that as well, because, like, sometimes I think it's really cool to go to a place that only has like 8,000 or 9,000 people and it's a gym. But at places like Arkansas or like, where I went to school at Indiana, you're getting more than 20,000 fans in there. And that to me speaks to the atmosphere more so than the actual venue itself. A place like Florida feels so pro style. I mean, it doesn't necessarily feel the same, like the atmosphere is at that same level. But I think that, you look at kind of just the way that everything is set up, right? Like I usually put those two together. Now I didn't write that story, so I can't like necessarily speak to the specific reasoning behind that. But I think it's more about like who is the fans that care the most. That speaks to the atmosphere. Then what's the type of place you just kind of walk in and you're just in amazement. Like you could go to Butler. Butler has as good of a venue as there is. Now, in terms of like atmosphere and whatnot, you wouldn't necessarily say that's definitively number one because it's not the craziest, most wild fans. Like you go into Bud Walton, that's different. So I think that's kind of where the line is drawn. But man, there's a lot of them in the SEC, and it's kind of cool to see all of these efforts that have been put in to be able to kind of build up those atmospheres. Because for a while, it seemed like there were only a handful of teams in the conference that really had truly elite places to be able to play, and Bud Walton has certainly put itself firmly in that conversation to be at the top of any list of the top atmospheres in the sport.
Yeah, and now that the regular season is over, awards start coming out. We're getting to get coaches' awards. Today and we know, just like how people get mad about awards that you guys give out, that they're awards, but not real awards like the coaches' awards and media. Some of the media awards with All-American stuff that will be given out this week. Because people are going to be mad about them because they always are. Is there a situation or something that could be that you might happen today with awards where you might be say like that's terrible? How can they vote that way? Like, what's the point where it has to be to where you would get upset? I mean, is it somebody winning it over Oscar Tshiebwe? Is it a certain guy being left off of first or second team? Like, where would you draw the line?
Not putting Jalen Williams on second team just because you don't like the charges he takes. That would be, to me, that would be a little bit ridiculous. Look, I'll make fun of it, and I'll continue to say it's bad for the game, but he's still a phenomenal player, right? Anybody who watches Jalen Williams can separate those two things and can acknowledge that he is darn good and so important with what they're trying to do. Or if you say, like, oh, well, a guy has limited pro potential, therefore they're not a first-team guy. Like, to me, that's just ridiculous. I don't think that'll be the case. I think Adam Spencer did a really good job of kind of breaking down what those first and second teams can look like in the SEC. I think J.D. Note, if you don't have him on your first team, like, really, what are you looking at, especially with how he's been playing down the stretch here? And then, to me, like, Jabari Smith is going to be the overwhelming, guy to get a lot of these national awards. He and Oscar Tshiebwe, of course, have earned the right to be considered for so many of these national awards. And I think that, as long as you're not coming up with some weird bias based on that, like that to me is where kind of it's pretty easy to kind of figure out where some biases lie. The Jalen Williams thing, though, I could definitely see some people being like, oh, well, he can't be a second team if he does this, this, and this. And it's like, well, he's still a really, really good player, and you should probably acknowledge that.
Drew sat next to who he thinks is the most annoying fan that he's ever sat next to in a game. At a
Talkative
Memphis Tigers
know-it-all.
game over the weekend, he was Mr. Know-It-All. I've got one.
know.
I get annoyed at the fans that like to sit behind home plate at baseball games that don't belong there because they're making faces and they're grabbing all the attention, and you actually do want to watch the game. The hand signals and all that kind of stuff can be fun every once in a while. I would really rather watch the game. Also, to like to to be told how to root when I'm there as a fan of a team. So for you, Connor, who? And it doesn't have to be like a real story or anything, but who is to you the most annoying fan?
Drunk fan's pretty bad, because drunk fan can be all of those things.
You can.
And drunk fan can be know-it-all. Drunk fan can be spatially unaware. And drunk fan can be like, all right, like, is this person about to like get sick in public? You get those more so in like the college type atmospheres, but that's the person I just cannot stand being around. Like every once in a while, you go to a game and you get the kid who's kicking your back or something like that. You can turn around and say, hey, we're going to put an end to this. Then you can kind of put them in their place. You can't put a drunk person in their place. Or if you get a know-it-all, every once in a while, if you come over the top and you just wait for your right moment and you make that comment, sometimes that person just needs to be shut up and they need to be put in their place. And I've done that. I've done that before. That I feel like I can control. I can't control drunk guy. I just can't. And they check so many of those annoying boxes. To me, that's what I would avoid at all costs. And then, like, I've been in press box situations with Mr. Know-It-All as well, who just every single play thinks that they have to come up with the snarkiest comment. And it's just like, oh, my God, shut up. Just let me watch this game that I'm being paid to cover. Like, this isn't, we're not like buddies at a bar or something like that. So I think there are a variety of fans, but the drunk fan just kind of is an overarching annoyance in my book.
Yeah, it's kind of a community of fans with different ways that they can annoy you, but it does start with a little bit too much or way too much alcohol. Connor, appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. Have a great week.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it, Connor.
Thanks. That's Connor O'Gara. I'm thinking about the guy who was standing in front of me at the Dave Matthews concert in October. He was drunk guy who annoyed his date so much that she left, and he turned into drunk high-five guy, over and over high-five guy. Enough of that. Hey, don't forget about BetUS Racing. This is the best place for all the odds on NCAA March Madness. They got a bracket contest, thousands of dollars in prizes. You can also bet on who's going to win the Oscars or the Academy Awards at BUSR.com. And if you use the Morning Rush, that's BUSR.com/Morning Rush, you'll get a 100% deposit bonus. If you put $100 in, you get $100 added to your account. It's just as easy as that. Put in 500, get 500 from BUSR. Simple as that. BUSR.com/morningrush. Bet with confidence. Bet with BUSR. We'll wrap up the first hour of halftime next.
Springtime is around the corner, and River Valley Truck Outfitters is here to get your vehicle ready. Window tint specialty, WeatherTech accessories, and more. Ask about the residential tints and commercial tints that are now available. Springtime is near, and River Valley Truck Outfitters will get your vehicle looking good on Highway 71 at the top of Rye Hill, where you can get special wheels and tires and more. Your one-stop truck accessory store, 648-8855. That's 648-8855. NWA Gold and Silver has moved to a new location in Fort Smith at 4600 Rogers Avenue across from Med Express. NWA Gold and Silver is always buying gold and silver, scrap, bullion, and coins. Plus, NWA Gold and Silver buys and sells jewelry of all kinds. Diamond rings, wedding bands, engagement rings, earrings, and more. Bring in your gold or silver today to the people that pay the most and have the best deals. NWA Gold and Silver in their new location at 4600 Rogers Avenue across from Med Express in Fort Smith.
First Western Bank. We are more than just a bank. We are your partner for all your financial services. First Western has real professionals with years of experience in banking, mortgage, insurance, and investments. From financial services to personal and business insurance to investment products, mortgages, and small business banking. First Western with locations throughout Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley and online at firstwestern.com. Exceptional financial services all in one place. First Western Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Planning to paint? Then shop Metters Lumber True Value for these great deals. Right now, Scotch Blue Original Painter's Tape is just $3.50 for the 60-yard by .94-inch roll. Or just pay $5.50 for the 60-yard by 1.41-inch tape. Or $6.50 for the 60-yard by 1.80-inch style. This multi-use tape removes cleanly without damage for up to 14 days after you paint. Pick up these bargains of the month while supplies last at Metters Lumber True Value.
March Madness is here, and Burton Pools and Spas has the biggest savings of the season right now on Doughboy above ground pools. Hi, Tommy Kraft here for my good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. If you've imagined that backyard of your dreams with a Doughboy above ground pool, now is the time to act. With savings up to $900 right now on select in-stock Doughboy pool packages. In fact, Burton Pools and Spas has special savings on cash and carry above ground Doughboy pools, starting at $19.95 right now. Ask about semi-in-ground pools and get a free upgrade on a robotic cleaner valued at $600 this month at Burton Pools and Spas. Hey, the Burtons have been helping families all across the area for more than 40 years make their backyard dreams come true. Stop in and see Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith and online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, helping you get your feet wet without getting in over your head.
Spring is here and Breeden RV is having the first sale of the year. New inventory is arriving weekly and is immediately priced to sell. Just like New Keystone Springdale starting at $164 a month. Need something for your toys? Breeden RV has new toy haulers starting at $239 a month. And don't forget about the exclusive maintenance for life on all new RVs. Breeden RV also has the best selection of pre-owned RVs in the River Valley, fully prepped and ready to camp. Give the service department a call at 479-262-2418 and get your RV ready for a great year. Breeden RV, where adventure begins. See dealer for complete details.
Get back in there at once and sell!
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Took a 911 by the 107 down a back road, where the White River runs and the southern sun makes a cousin roll. Look what I found.
Find us on 99.5 and 1290 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs in Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
I saw where yesterday University of San Diego fired their basketball coach, Sam Scholl, after a 15-16 start. 15-16 start finish.
I was about to say, that's full season last time I checked.
It'll be maybe a start for an NBA-ish. 4 years he'd been the head coach there. I would only mention it because that's where Muss went to school.
Uh-oh.
That's where Muss went to
Rumor
school.
mill getting started.
Yeah,
Are
get
you
the
kicking
rumor
it
mill
off?
started,
Are you
right.
kicking it off?
You're going to leave the SEC for
Which source said
for
this?
the West Coast Conference.
Is this close source? Was this inside source?
There's no source whatsoever.
Was it all capital letter source?
This is an ESPN story from Jeff Borzello that that Sam Scholl's fired. So I'm just putting 2 and 2 together here and throwing it out there. I know Muss has had so many good things to say about his alma mater, about USD, which is not San Diego State. It's not the Aztecs. They are the Toreros.
Yes. Different color scheme and everything.
That's right. Yeah. And San Diego
They
State.
had their own uniforms,
put
too.
the word state in it. They're a public school. USD, I'm pretty sure, is a private school. Might have been a religiously affiliated private school. So yeah, get the nervous folks started. Going to be Louisville, or is it going to be San Diego, or is it just going to be Arkansas again for a 4th year?
I mean, Maryland's still out there. I mean, what about Maryland?
Yeah. Hey, we got Wade and Branch on hold. Let's hit the phone call before the break. Wade, how are you doing? What's up?
I'm doing pretty good, Phil. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you very much.
Hey, speaking of stupidity as far as fans go, I'm going to share a little story with you. One time when my dad, we were out in California, I live in California, he took us out to my very first Giant baseball game. And they were playing against Houston. They were called the Colt 45s then. And the Giants got caught, one of the players got caught stealing a base, trying to steal a base, and he was out. Well, after the inning was over, this idiot, I think he was drunk, he got out and he jumped down and he went over to third base and was, I guess, just looking at that guy and showing him how to steal a base. He started racing from third to home. And I said, Dad, what's he doing? Dad said he's just being stupid.
Yeah, Wade, you appreciate the phone call, Wade. It's good to hear from you. You brought up a whole other category of fan that I hadn't even considered, which is fan that goes onto the court or on the field. And we're not talking like student rush and storming after a big win or anything like that. Like those who run onto the field.
The streakers, the random guys just to run around and stop everything. And like, I don't know why people enjoy watching that or why people do it. You're now... You're going to get caught. There's no exit.
Don't you feel like anybody that runs out onto any sort of a field like that it's got to be alcohol induced, or at least that's the thing
or
that
they're just
loosens
dumb.
them up to where they decide to do it. Man, I mean, I saw guys run.
What's the end goal? You get banned from you get arrested. You get banned from that arena or
moment of glory,
stadium?
my friend. Moment of glory. That's all it is.
Yeah, people will remember you as being dumb.
Moments of glory.
You're that dumb guy.
Yeah, and then there's fans like, what was the name of the guy that parachuted in to the Riddick Bowe Evander Holyfield championship match? That's a whole different I'm rushing the field sort of a thing.
Who's the woman who was famous for
Morgana.
Morgana, yeah.
That's different. She ended up getting paid to do it.
Everybody liked her.
Once you're paid to do it, you're no longer stupid or drunk. Halftime, second hour, right back.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. From general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics, Dr. Bo Sparkman and Dr. Brogan give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confidence, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer opens like every other seltzer.
course, like every other seltzer. But it's not like every other seltzer. USDA certified organic, no added sugar, and low cal. So you've never seen another seltzer quite like it. And with new refreshing flavors like black cherry and watermelon strawberry, you've never tasted one like it either. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, as real as it tastes. Enjoy responsibly, not a low-calorie food. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, IRC Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work. Real work. Working for you. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Come tour the 2022 Showcase Home located in Stoneshire at Chaffee Crossing. This impressive two-story white brick home with black and wood accents features high-efficiency natural gas heating, tankless water heating, cooking, fireplace, and outdoor grilling. Tour this year's Showcase Home March 4th through the 13th, 1 to 6 p.m. daily in Fort Smith. Natural gas from AOG. More comfort, less cost.
Are you looking for a great deal on a previously owned vehicle but want to avoid high-pressure sales? If so, you need to visit Edwards Auto Sales in Roland. For over 30 years, Ernie Edwards and his staff have helped folks from Arkansas and Oklahoma River Valley buy a quality vehicle and offer a buy here, pay here program as part of their services. Some restrictions may apply. Come visit Edwards Auto Center newly remodeled facility 3 miles west of the Garrison Bridge, the first car dealer on your right, or log on at edwardsautosalesinc.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, a lingering shower or thunderstorm early, but the rest of the forecast much more easier to take. We're going to see high pressure starting to nose in, drying us out. Our temperatures this afternoon only in the mid-40s north, mid-50s south. An increase in the cloud cover near 30 tonight. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Don't let mosquitoes ruin your outside fun this year. Call Mosquito Joe to keep your yard mosquito-free. Call 479-202-9960 or visit ArkansasMosquitoJoe.com.
Proceed. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
It's what I always listen to.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
And this one belongs to the Razorbacks.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com. Fans are amazing. It is lit down here on the sideline.
This is halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious...
Here come the students. Oh, here come the students. They're coming from the south end, and this one has been a long time brewing.
I have been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Judging by the sound of it, so has everyone else.
But hold on, it's almost halftime.
Second hour halftime on this Monday. Clouds all above. A little cooler than usual this time of the year, but hey, it's all right. 877-377-6963 to hit with you. Men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, and the like. And the fans that annoy you the most. Not a big fan of Marlins Man. You know the guy that wears orange?
I don't mind Marlin Man. It's kind of like Where's Waldo when you turn on a playoff game. You just got to find him.
It's like the look at me guys. The one at the top of the list, and we already brought him up last week. There's no reason to hash it over again, over and over. Is the Whistler? That's the ultimate.
Whistler,
that's the ultimate look at me. It's the look at me fans that kind of make it about them. And when Marlins Man is not obnoxious about it. I guess it's just the color orange. It just stands out in such a weird way, and it's like he always going to let you know where it is he's sitting just by wearing that thing. But he doesn't seem like a bad enough guy.
It doesn't seem like he annoys really anybody around him. Doesn't cause a scene, isn't waving his arms. He's just a guy that really likes baseball and for some reason likes the Marlins and has enough money to sit behind home plates at big games.
Like being loud at a game, being loud at a concert, that kind of thing. It's the sort of expected, right? And it's okay if people are loud around you. when you're sitting next to somebody or anywhere near somebody at a movie or at a show, like somewhere where you got to be quiet. It's like we're supposed to follow almost library rules, although no one's cheering in a library or clapping or at the end of a song. It's those, and I hate to say it this way because I love nerds. Anybody that buys nerds at a movie theater and then eats them during the movie or unwraps a candy in a certain way, like that's the one.
The crunchiness of it.
That's the one.
Saturday at the Batman, I was next to a family, and their child had those shoes on that light up every time they slightly move their feet. So throughout the whole movie, they were flat. Wait. You've never seen a kid wearing shoes?
No, I've seen it. Here's my question. Isn't the Batman rated R?
No, it's PG-13. Oh. They drop one F-bomb early on in the movie, but then the rest are free.
Well, if, maybe it's a little different nowadays, but I didn't know anybody over the age of 13 wearing light-up shoes. Was this child of age to be at
this? She's probably like 7 or 8.
It's parental guidance. These parents
not very good.
Well, this family was also sitting in the seats that I bought, so I had to sit further down the aisle. So I don't think they really. First of all, they didn't care where the hell they sit. In a place where you're supposed to pick your seats.
Sporting events, like I said, I've done it before, where you wait around to see if anybody shows up. You move down, fine. Enjoy yourself. Movie though, especially now that you have to pick your own seat. I had that happen to me a month or two ago, and I almost couldn't watch the movie because I was glaring at them too much.
That's the thing. I was already glaring at them, and then they also had light up shoes. The whole time.
Why did I even have to pick a seat? Why do we all pick seats if we're not going to honor it?
Well, and then
come on,
and then to split, because there's obviously there's a split here between going to somewhere where you're expected to be loud and make noise and talk and it's a social event. And go to a movie or play like something. That's why those things are not great date things early in relationships, because it's not social enough. You're just sitting next to each other and hoping not to annoy that other person, and hoping that your breath doesn't annoy them, or the way you might cough or sneeze a couple of times doesn't annoy them. But at a sporting event, you get these people sometimes that you're sitting behind, and the one is always asking this. So what's happening right there? Why is that guy behind him at that base right there? Does that bug you at all? So anytime you're at a movie and the questions keep coming, because we've all sat next to somebody.
What does that mean?
What did he say? Why is she dressed like that? That's the most annoying sort of person sitting next to.
Sit in front of a couple, and one of them was blind, so the spouse gave the play-by-play of the movie the entire time. And
I'm sweet.
I'm sympathetic.
Rent out the theater for yourselves, bro.
Wait till it comes out on video or something, and then tell them about it at home.
You know what? And knock on the biggest piece of wood. I hope I never lose my eyesight. But if I feel like you go blind, movies that's just one of the things you lose. I'm sorry. You lose the surround sound. You lose all that. I'm sorry. It's just not for you anymore. And it's not because I hate blind people. I don't. It's just you're not the target audience. Movies aren't made for you. If you can't see it, chances are they didn't make it for you.
Maybe a good audiobook.
A great audiobook.
Sporting event would be perfect for somebody that has no knowledge of what's happening, as long as they've got Mr. Know-It-All sitting right next to them, just like you did. then you get all your questions answered before you even ask them.
Honestly, and I talked about this back when it was a segment of Get Off My Lawn or something, where I said in movie theaters they need to have a 25 and up section. I think at sporting events they should have sections, like back in the days when you had restaurants, smoking or non-smoking. Are you annoying or not annoying? Are you Mr. Talkative? Are you going to blab about the whole game? You want to talk about how you could coach better or you played better? Then you go sit with those people. Let us normal people sit by ourselves.
Maddie,
we'll do high fives, and then we'll leave each other alone.
Maddie, did you notice the very hoity-toity pronunciation of theater there by our reverend?
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I need you to pronounce restaurant restaurant next time.
Restaurant.
Yes. I've never heard you say that before. You got all hoity-toity on us there.
You know what? Like I said, I like to think that I'm a down-the-earth guy. A man of the people. But sometimes
what people are we talking about here?
I do need to put my nose up to people, because and I know he had no idea that was my only Memphis game that I've gotten to go to this year. I know that he didn't know that I had a 4.5-hour drive back and didn't want to be ticked off during that long drive. I know he didn't know these things, but pick up on social cues. I gave him so many social cues of, hey, man, I'm trying to be nice.
Take a hint,
The only person I'm going to talk to is the girl sitting to the right of me. I'm not going to talk to you. If you want to cheer, you want to be a fan, you want a high five, sure. But as soon as that high five happens, be quiet. Don't talk to me.
We need to manufacture a hat for folks like you in those moments when you really need you need blinders on one side of your face, so you don't even look at this. You don't even acknowledge that they exist. We need somebody to come up with a hat that puts blinders on one side, so Mr. Know-It-All knows. You
hey,
don't need to hear from him.
He's not going to have it anymore. And that's the thing. The knowing all about it was the thing that drove me very crazy. Was because I don't know about you, Phil, but when I go out and I'm a fan or I'm just out in public, like of course I love talking sports. Like that's what I do for a living. But I don't want to have a sports like debate with every single person that I meet in the world. I don't want to tell you my opinion on everything sports related going on at every single time. Sometimes I just want to be Mr. Anonymous. Just let me be me. Let me enjoy this event that I love, and let me enjoy my time. We don't have to have these debates and these in-depth conversations when it comes to sports. You can just high five and go, oh man, right? Oh darn.
I heard this from Connor when you had Connor O'Gara on about 40 minutes ago about. And the people in the media are not going to be up and screaming, right? They're not going to show up drunk to hopefully not going to show up drunk to an event. So it's probably like what he was saying. It's the folks who you're sitting next to, and you're like, you're not doing your radio show right now. You don't need to perform to everybody who's around us right now. You're not writing your column at this very moment. You don't need to be all cutesy with everyone.
We don't need the witty wordplay from you right now.
Unfortunately, some of us can't handle it. Can't stop. It's just the way you communicate. It's important.
It's got to have an off switch.
You got to be. You're free to be you and me. BE keeps bumping this. He says the most annoying fan is the parent of the player. He sent that to us twice.
That is
I think BE's had some experience with annoying parents. Not every parent of the player is annoying. It's just, I think, the one for BE that is so open about it. And BE, I hope you're reserving this annoyance for non-Razorback parents, because those ones are never annoying. They're just full of love for their sons and daughters and for love of the Razorback. So I think you're going to have to qualify a little of your statement.
And not to talk, because I haven't seen or interacted with any parents of Razorback players. But I have seen parents that do, even at the college level, take it too far. I'm not going to say any names, but there's a mother of a basketball player who never sat down. And when she did, she wouldn't sit into her seat. She'd sit on top of it. So she's still higher than the person behind her. So therefore, they could never, ever see. She was one of the loudest people. I get it. She's passionate. She wants to root on her child. But she didn't pay for those tickets. You know who did pay for tickets? The people behind them.
Yeah. Well, the team paid for her tickets.
They did. So let's be respectful to the ticket buying public.
We had a pitcher on the Travelers. I think this was 2008. It's one of my favorite teams because we had 3 kids with last name Rodriguez and 3 kids whose last name were Smith. And Rodriguez is pretty much Smith too. You know, when it comes right down to it. One of the Smiths, Jesse Smith. His father would show up at every game he pitched, and Jesse was one of the starting pitchers, so that was every 5 days, home or road. His dad was at every one of those games. And when Jesse got to 2 strikes, I like without fail, his father would stand up and shout so everybody could hear it. I mean, I could hear it through my crowd microphone. Jesse! Strike him out! I mean, as loud as he possibly did. No, you might have had 12 people in that ballpark, and that man was standing up, and he was telling his son what he could do with that baseball, which was shove it. Up the batter, not up himself.
The most annoying parent I've ever had to deal with was when I was the SID for softball. And softball dads are worse than baseball moms, worse than any other people in the sports parenting world that I've ever had to deal with. I had 2 of them, but come and yell at me because he told me I was doing an injustice to his daughter and to these girls out there working so hard because I was keeping score wrong, or I said it was an out when it was, what he thought would be classified as a fielder's choice, or what he thought would be classified as a sacrifice. I didn't put it that way because it wasn't. I knew what I was doing. And he looked at me and did the finger wag at me and said, "You were doing an injustice to these people. I hope that they do not have you back. I hope you get fired for what you're doing to these girls." They won 5 games all year. I loved working for the team, and I loved working with those girls. They did work really hard. But I'm not doing an injustice for a team that is hitting a $110 regardless of how you score it. I'm not doing injustice to your daughter who hasn't had a hit in 4 games. Leave me alone.
Oh, now I remember exactly what Jesse's father would shout, and it reminded me of Cobra Kai, of the Karate Kid.
No mercy?
No, he would shout, "Finish him!"
It wasn't sweep the leg.
Yeah,
sweep the leg. Yeah, put him in a body bag.
You sweep the leg, you're gonna probably, you sweep the leg, you give him first base. You finish him, then he's done for the at bat. It was kind of. I felt he was like Martin Cove. He was doing that.
He was shouting out like Mortal Kombat fatalities.
Yeah.
Finish him.
Yeah, and then the pitch would lodge in the batter's chest, and he would rip his heart out with it. It was like Mortal Kombat. 877-377-6963. More halftime after this quick break.
This is Trusting the Process.
He was ignoring me, and I was like, man, I knew based on this game that you were blind, but I didn't know you were deaf, too. He teased me up right away. Jerry Pollard, who was the official that tossed Musk for the Oklahoma game, he wasn't officiating, but he was the assigner of our officials. He's sitting at the scorer's table. He looks over at Jerry Pollard, and I'll never forget this. Pollard just looks at me, he looks at the official, and he goes, "Send him."
Sports media member stories on Trusting the Process on hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts.
Get a free furnace when you purchase a qualifying new system from Ashley Air. And there is no down payment, no interest for 72 months on qualifying systems. And you get the Ashley Air Quality Assurance Guarantee, their 12-year parts and labor warranty. Get a free furnace when you purchase a new system from Ashley Air. Just go to AshleyAir.com to schedule your appointment. That's AshleyAir.com. Ashley Air is a proud sponsor of Razorback Athletics.
Farm Credit has been a trusted friend for over 100 years. They are ag financing experts. So whether you're a longtime farmer, new to farming, or buying your dream home or land in the country, their experienced staff has a plan to fit your goals, needs, and your bottom line. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com. Farm Credit is an equal opportunity lender.
When you want beer, you go to a bar. When you want top shelf spirits, wines, handcrafted cocktails, and cigars, in an atmosphere benefiting a destination, you go to 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Try our new menu items including fish and chips, classic club sandwiches, Caesar and Cobb salads, or stick to your favorites, dine in or carry out. Enjoy our state-of-the-art air filtration system. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge, defining nightlife in downtown Fort Smith. Doors open at 4 Tuesday through Saturday.
March is here at Frank Rowe Furniture, and it's my birthday month. Since it's my birthday month, I'm having a big sale with hundreds of dollars off savings on furniture. Not only are we offering big savings, you won't pay a dime on sales tax. That's right, no sales tax on cash or finance prices. I'm not done. We are knocking off $25 on all deliveries. In-store no credit check financing, family owned, and service after the sale. Frank Rowe Furniture, best seats in the house.
Inventory shortage? Not here. Wheeler Power Sports has its own showroom packed with brand new units. They have a great selection of Kawasaki bikes featuring the Ninja Z900, the KLR 650, and the Ninja 400. Wheeler Power Sports has everyone covered for all ages and all the gear and protection to keep them safe. Looking for that side-by-side or ATV for this spring? Wheeler Power Sports has the best in-stock selection in the area, and they can special order to fulfill your need. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
When it comes to COVID-19, there are several things you can do to protect yourself, your friends and loved ones, and your community. Wear a mask, wash your hands often, and continue to social distance when you are near other people. If you test positive or are exposed to COVID-19, you can get free, detailed information on what you need to do in order to prevent spreading COVID-19 to those around you. Just go to healthy.arkansas.gov. This message brought to you by the Arkansas Department of Health.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
The Must Bus is on the road, and so are we. Our live coverage at the SEC Tournament in Tampa is brought to you by Crane Automotive in Fayetteville, WT Equipment in Springdale, and Twin Peaks in Rogers.
I keep hearing you're concerned about my happiness, but all that thought you're giving me is conscience, I guess. If I were walking in your shoes, I wouldn't be worrying none. Are you and your friends are worried about me? I'm having lots of fun, counting flowers on the wall. That don't bother me.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett. Want to jump in the conversation with the guys? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963.
Nothing to do for the next 40 minutes other than listen to Halftime right here. You can be part of the show at 877-377-6963. Has baseball made an agreement yet? I asked that rhetorically. And we know the answer.
Yes.
They're going to be canceling more games today or tomorrow.
Of course.
But apparently there's a little bit of an agreement on what may happen. And this, to me, is the more interesting stuff than the competitive balance tax and all of that kind of stuff. And
it's stuff that everybody can understand because once you get into those numbers and
well, it has more to do with the way the game is played than the way the teams are constructed and the money that's spent.
This is stuff that we'll actually see.
Right. Yeah. So apparently Major League Baseball and the Players Association have now come to an agreement, as they already have about a designated hitter in both leagues.
I'm all for.
To implement a pitch clock, make the bases larger, and ban shifts. So, I mean, this is stuff that has that percolated up through the minors last year. There's data on the effect of the game from these rules changes from specific minor leagues. And I remember thinking about this when these rules changes for those minor leagues were instituted last year, that what they're trying to do, aside from speed the game up, and that's what the pitch clock is about, is to reintroduce the ground ball. Something as simple as the ground ball, which now is not really a part of the game as much as it used to be.
What type of launch angle do you have to get a ground ball?
Negative.
Okay, because that's what baseball's all about, is the launch angles.
Well,
when you're all about the launch angles, of course there's no ground balls.
Yes, that's my launch angle is a negative one, because everything I hit is a hard grounder up the middle or right back to the pitcher. So it's and that's really where so much of the fun of baseball is. It's not necessarily on ground balls. It's balls in play. It's balls in play, and you get to see all of the great athleticism done by fielders in the field, which that part of the game is disappearing a little bit, and not a little bit, a lot.
A lot of it. And that's the thing why the biggest thing out of the three that I'm upset with, you make a good point on a rundown about the larger bases. It's safer. The pitch clock, I thought it was going to bother me a lot more at minor league games. Tell you the truth, never really noticed it. Never really felt like it sped anything up either. It just felt like a normal pace of a baseball game. So I can get on board with that. What I think out of the three that I can't get on board is with the banning of this banning shifts, making designated areas where each player has to stay in before a pitch is thrown. That is what drives me crazy, because that's one of the best things about baseball is that if I'm managing a team, the only two people that have to be where they are is the pitcher and the catcher.
Right.
If I want to put all 7 of my guys in right field, by golly, it's dumb, but I should be allowed to do it. And when it comes to banning the shift and they say, well, it's unfair, guys are using analytics and they're able to know where I'm going to hit the ball. You want it, this one thing, Phil, or 2 things. I'll say 2 things. We'll get rid of the shift faster than a band will. Learning how to go the other way and learning how to bunt. You drop a few bunts down, guess who's not shifting everybody over to the right side? You learn how to go oppo through the 5-hole, guess once again, this is obviously coming from a left-handed batter, everyone's not moving over. So they're going to have to play you more evenly. Learn better ways to hit.
There's a reason why batters aren't trying to do that. And it's the analytics, too. So the analytics. And look, the analytics are the reason why the game is played the way it's played right now. Why does every player try to pull everything and hit home runs? Because analytics have shown that that's the best way to score runs and win games. Why do teams employ shifts that have been rare over the years? Because analytics. You pitch a guy a certain way, he's got tendencies, you're going to put your fielders to field against those tendencies. So there's this give and take between the analytics of fielding, the analytics of pitching and hitting, and they're crashing together into this, one instance of trying to ban shifts, which doesn't make sense when it comes to the way the game is designed. You're exactly right. All you have to have is a guy on the pitcher's rubber and a catcher inside the catcher's box.
That is it.
And you can put 3 guys on third base and 3 more in right center field and another guy at second base and call it a day or call it a play and then move them around or whatever. But it's the idea that too many fly balls because home runs that aren't home runs quite often are flyouts, and giving, I guess, more room through what I think in our heads are viewed or the normal fielding alignment for guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's standard places where guys normally stand. But
you're exactly right, too. You would say you've got all this room on the left side to hit it as a left-handed hitter. Why not try to go that way? And here's part of the thing, too. The pitchers don't care if they line a single through the left side at that point. They just don't want them to hit a home run. They say, I'd rather give up the single than the home run. So it's – but if the players are cool with this, and if the owners are cool with this, then that to me means that they have to have an understanding that there will be you got to coach a different way. You've got to what are you going to value? The home run value is never going away. It's never going away.
It's not. And the problem is, I think banning the shift, it's something, and this is where I'm going to sound like old curmudgeon, unwilling to change guy when it comes to sports of, well, if we're willing to do this, where does it stop? Where does the buck stop? And I know not every baseball player is on board. This majority probably are. But I wish I would have bookmarked it and been able to give credit to the pitcher that I saw on Twitter and say, well, if we're banning the shift, how long is it until, to benefit the hitter, how long is it until a hitter can complain enough that that I'm throwing too many curveballs and the balls aren't coming at him straight for him to hit home runs? I mean, it's almost, I know that's an extreme, but if we're willing to do this, if we're willing to change the game this way, who's to say in a few years, because of analytics, because of the need to have home runs, because for non-baseball people, that's the only thing that apparently is exciting about baseball. Chicks dig the long ball. We've heard it our entire lives. But for baseball people, a simple, 6-4 ground ball play can be just as exciting depending on what's going on. I mean, it just backhand. There's so many other ways that baseball is exciting that if we're just going to put all of our eggs in the long ball basket, it's not going to work. Because how far are you going to go to change it?
The eggs have been in that basket for the last 10 years. And to me, it seems like that's an opportunity not an opportunity, but like an attempt to maybe put a couple of the eggs back inside the chicken. But you're never going to be able to eliminate the value of the home run. But I guess what you can do is at least is at least show that there's an opportunity to do something with ground balls in the way that you usually did it. If you pull a ground ball through the right side, but now you got 3 infielders on the right side, it's not quite the same for hitters. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
I know, I get it.
Because I'm trying to look to myself, like in the minors where they made the change, and I forget what level it was all the fielders had to be on the dirt. It wasn't a ban of the shift. Is that every infielder
couldn't play
had to
back
have
into
their
the grass
feet on the dirt as the pitch was delivered. Once the pitch left the pitcher's hand, you could back up into the outfield grass if you wanted. So I don't know what you do. If you put like a line behind second base and say no shortstop moves over this line until the pitch is delivered.
And how far are you going to be able to move in half a second? Because that's how long it's taken that ball to get across the plate.
Well, it's just one more change to baseball that changes things in a way that it's never been changed before. Like, I have no problem making the bases larger.
I don't either. I think it's silly, but I mean, I'll go with it.
I think it's a great idea, actually, because it's safer for everybody involved. And now with instant replay, every little move around the base is magnified. So give the runner a little more room, because now the fielders have had the edge on replays. Because I don't think replay. I think most of the time you got just a tiny little bit off the base or slides around it a little bit. I think they deserve a little bit more room. And larger bases also, that's going to shorten a little bit of the distance, just a little bit of the distance between the batter and first base. So that gives you a little more of a reason maybe to hit a ground ball.
Yeah,
you might actually beat the thing out. It's a tiny little difference, but man, those bang plays, some of them with a larger base, will be a base hit.
Maybe this is a way
before they would have been an out.
Maybe it's a way to get somewhat of a small ball back into baseball, because, like we said, it's all about analytics now, right?
Well, that's
if we can show that you get a 2% increase by putting a bunt down the left side, maybe we do get some actual strategic baseball played again.
Drew, that's the thing, exactly, the small ball aspect of it that is missing from baseball. And you know where it's also
bunts, hit and runs.
It's missing in college
sacrifices.
baseball too.
Come on.
It's missing in college baseball too. That's where a lot of the action happens. Guys running, fielders charging, fielders throwing and diving. Somebody hits a home run, it's like, oh, look at that thing.
Oh,
look, I love home runs just as much as anybody else, but I love all the other stuff in baseball too. And I do feel like these rules changes are at least an effort to try to introduce them in some way. Like, you can't brainwash the coaches and say, all right, guys, now we're doing bunts. Now we're hitting ground balls up the middle and left side and all that. But you can introduce rules changes that might give them reason to hit a few more ground balls every once in a while. I got a reason for you to pick up a Yumbrella Flash Mob Junior at either Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LearnNet.com, or tackle stores everywhere. You need the Yumbrella Flash Mob Junior if you're doing cold water bass fishing. It's the best lure for duplicating a small school of shad. Work it from the top of the water column to the bottom. And if you're trying to win a bass tournament or whoop up on a bunch of white bass and stripers, it's the Yumbrella Flash Mob Junior. 877-377-6963. Halftime right back.
Sports fans, it's March Madness. Where are you going to bet? I know where I will.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit, is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Really happy to announce that Manscaped is now supporting the Hit That Line podcast network. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and they're offering you the new Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle Performance Package. Join over 4 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Just enter the code HTL at manscaped.com. Again, that's HTL at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com. I think if my math's right, that's 8 million balls. Inside this package, you're going to find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Provider toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. The Boxers and Shed travel bag are a free addition, and they bring it to another level. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code HTL at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com and use the code HTL. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Now that's a dandy white perch.
Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
The phrase in dire straits originated in the 1400s from sailors having to carefully navigate their vessels through narrow passages to avoid a shipwreck. So Far Away from Dire Straits is a song lamenting the struggle of a long-distance relationship over the phone. Mark Knopfler said, "It's a joke. It can't really be done over a long period of time because you both get exhausted with it. Sin has put us in dire straits with God, and that's why he feels so far away." Jesus said the passage to God is a narrow way, and he promised when he went so far away, the Holy Spirit would be here to stay. This isn't some hunch or intuition, but a conviction navigating you to God's holy word. When you have a real relationship with God, you have the person of the Spirit living inside you, guiding your walk of life every step of the way. Don't trust your feelings. Look up John chapter 16 and see if it sends you reeling. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Read about it.
Football might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pros and college hoops. For all the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach.
Nachos, Mexican pizza, pork belly tacos, and the best fajitas in town. And when the Hogs are on TV, it's always half-price apps and taps. Your favorite drinks and the best Tex-Mex in town is at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Give me now. All you fellas, gather around me and let me give you some good advice. What I'm gonna ask you now. You'd better think about it twice. Why you lie, cheating on your woman? There is something you never even thought of. Not telling who's making love to your old lady. Are you out making love?
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Follow the guys on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP, at Matt Travis, and at DBarrett36. Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
Calvert and Boonville gets more excited about Arkansas double plays than hitting home runs. Hey, they're fun to watch turn a double play. Game-winning double play to finish this the first game of the doubleheader against Southeastern Louisiana. Man, I was nervous showing up at Baum on Saturday. I was, just because...
You weren't in the booth.
Well, it wasn't necessarily that. What's that, Matty?
You were for the second game.
I was for the second game. I was just nervous because you can't be losing series to Southeastern Louisiana at home.
But you didn't, though.
And you didn't.
You won 2 out of 3.
But at that point, it's a Friday loss. It's 2 Friday losses. 2 Friday losses that does worry me a little bit. And it's not on Connor Nolan. I wouldn't even put it on the bullpen. It's on the lineup. It's on hitting. And look, they scored enough runs to win 2 out of 3. Again, I don't mean this to be too much of a, like a trash of the offense or the lineup or anything like that. But you got to worry a little bit, really, when 10 games into the season, you've got the lowest batting average of any team in the SEC. you've got the second lowest slugging percentage of any team in the SEC and the lowest on-base percentage, the second lowest on-base percentage of any team in the SEC. And we're used to seeing so many home runs. Got the third fewest right now in the league. So, and you've also played the fewest games, but nobody else has played more than 2 or 3 games than Arkansas has. So this does start to, it's 3 weeks in a row. So it's not just, it's just the start of the season. It's a thing now. Jace Borfin's coming out of it a little bit. Robert Moore had a really good game, second game Saturday. You saw Michael Turner, I think, is heating up a little bit. Lanzilli showing things at the plate. So is Caden Wallace. But it's not something always
everything's
seems to
not
get in the
clicking.
way.
Yeah,
Yes.
not everybody's on the same page, and you're not getting the productivity out of your 9 batters that you thought you were going to get. And it is a little troublesome, but you're still winning ball games. And I know that the competition you're playing right now isn't the competition you're going to be playing in a month when you get full into SEC play. I know that. But I don't think the sky's falling. I don't know if it's that worrisome. And maybe it's because, while I am a baseball diehard fan, I'm not an Arkansas diehard. I'm not an Arkansas fan. So maybe I'm coming from more of just an outsider of just wait and see. You're still winning games. You might not be winning the way that you want. But if you were losing 2 out of 3, maybe it is time to panic. But we're 3 weeks in. See how they do against Illinois, Chicago this weekend.
Well, and it's a good thing that
and
you
let
had
it get warm. Let the
pitching's
weather warm up.
Your pitching's been really good.
Yeah.
And the starting continues to look really good. I was impressed with Jackson Wiggins in Game 1 on Saturday. His off-speed looks good. He might have walked a couple of guys. There were a few too many leadoff batters that reached, but he pitched really well out of the stretch. And with guys on base, it's just going to happen to you, especially once you get into the SEC. You got to work your way out of some situations. That's what I saw from Jackson. Hagen Smith looked terrific. He bounced back nicely after, getting touched up by that Stanford lineup. I don't think Southeastern really had a great team hitting-wise, but I do think Arkansas's pitchers showed enough that, with a week until the start of SEC play, because you got 6 games before SEC baseball begins. Your pitching looks really good, starting pitching right now. And
which was the big question mark 3 weeks ago.
One other point to make is you're not scoring enough runs to give the younger pitchers, the younger relief pitchers, an opportunity to get their so-called feet wet. Now, you could be in a worse situation right now, Drew. You could be, Mississippi State. They're 6-7. They lost 2 out of 3 to Tulane, and
that's a good Tulane team, though.
Their ace, Landon Sims, is out. He heard something pop in his elbow.
That's not good.
And I don't know what the MRI has shown. I'm sure he's getting the MRI today. But this was the sort of thing I told you that with Peyton Paulette's injury. At least Paulette's injury happened 3 weeks before the season started.
And not 3 weeks
after.
Not
3 weeks into the season when you're banking on this guy to be your Friday guy, because he has been so far. Like Mississippi State without Landon Sims could be completely screwed.
Yeah, because they just don't know
that.
Exactly, and for the reason of they just don't know who they're going to be able to plug in there. And you're right. It's never a good time to lose a guy that has, ace potential, who's that much talent at the pitching position. But it's better to know you're not going to have him going in. That way you can start to try guys out, start to get their feet wet. And I think that is a bit of a concern, like you said, that the bats haven't gotten going well enough to get these young guys those innings, because it's going to take some of them a little bit longer to, get it all down. I mean, just going from different levels of baseball, just because it doesn't always translate. You have to get into those game situations against those types of hitters and realize what worked before might not work now. What you were able to get away with, you're not getting away with now. So you need to get that experience, that in-game innings, to really solidify what you're going to bring to a pitching staff. And I think that could be a concern, but we're still so early into the season. I mean, we're 3 weeks in a 56-game season. I don't think there's any need to press the panic button. There's no need to put the key to unlock the panic button.
Well, we are starting to see, like coaches will tell you, you don't need to call somebody into your office and talk to them that they're not doing well. Playing time is the message.
Yeah. They know when they're hitting $150 and when they're hitting when they're hitting 250.
So
they know.
Braden Webb has not been starting for the last few games. 0 for 14 is not going to get you in the lineup no matter how good you are in the field. You saw Peyton Stovall was not in the lineup game 2 against Southeastern Saturday. Neither was Brady Slavens, although he did come off the bench and pinch hit. So, I mean, those are Stovall was the leadoff batter to begin the season. I would have been completely floored if 10 games into the season you'd say there were 2 games he did not even play. Like that's very surprising. But maybe one day off and he'll be back in the lineup on Thursday against UIC. And then there's Slavens, who you still see, like, I think some of the old tendencies that come through of expand the strike zone, attack some pitches that are questionable, and be late on the pitches that you need to hit. But I mean, with Brady, it came around last year to a point where he had to be in that lineup every day. So see him not start but come out and pinch hit, and he did, I think, well with his pinch hit appearance. At least is a good thing. But those are 2 guys I just wouldn't have expected to not see in the lineup of a rubber game. In a series, no matter if it's non-conference or SEC. So anyway, there you go. That's some baseball stuff for you.
Plenty of time to turn it around. Plenty of time to get those bats hot. And hopefully, as the weather turns, which unfortunately, we've got another week of winter left under us, because this week is going to be cold. Yeah. I was ready to go. It's going to be sunny, though, but only like a high of like 42.
Let's just put it in the books that there's not going to be baseball on Friday. Because in Fayetteville, a high of 31 degrees on Friday, and there's a basketball game being played around the same time, since Arkansas plays either it's Missouri, Mississippi, Ole Miss, or LSU.
Missouri, Ole Miss, or LSU. That is correct.
And that'll be around the same time. I don't know. It's only Monday, so they're not going to make any decisions just yet. But let's just say we'll have a baseball game Thursday, and then maybe 2 on Saturday, because I just don't see baseball Friday.
I don't either, especially if it does get the weather that you're supposed to. You might as well just make it a doubleheader on Saturday, getaway day on Sunday, and be done with it. But with it supposed to be cold, like my buddy who's coming in this weekend, like he loves drinking beer, so I was like, hog pen it is, man. But I don't know if I can convince him with enough beer.
You want that to be frozen beer?
Yeah, to stand outside.
Beer slushes.
And I'm sure we'd still have a great time with the loyal Hog Pen fans, but I don't know if I can ask him to do that when he's not that big of a baseball fan.
I can picture a text coming.
And I mean, he hates baseball. He doesn't
actually
like it.
Is it okay if I come into the radio booth during the game?
Just to warm up, man. My toes are cold.
You're like, well, how much have you had to drink?
It's none of your business.
Are not allowed to show up in the booth.
I can stand up.
That's right. All right, we better step aside. We'll wrap halftime up after this quick break.
Springtime is around the corner, and River Valley Truck Outfitters is here to get your vehicle ready. Window tint specialty, WeatherTech accessories, and more. Ask about the residential tints and commercial tints that are now available. Springtime is near, and River Valley Truck Outfitters will get your vehicle looking good on Highway 71 at the top of Rye Hill, where you can get special wheels and tires and more. Your one-stop truck accessory store, 648-8855. That's 648-8855.
There's nothing quite like outdoor living, and at Razorback Camper Sales, we've been bringing the camping lifestyle to families for over 50 years. We're Arkansas's oldest family-owned RV dealer with the best parts and service department in the state. Razorback Camper Sales has everything you need for travel trailers, fifth wheels, and pop-ups. Find out why our customers are always happy campers. Come see us in Hot Springs or online at RazorbackCampersales.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Would printing from your phone or tablet make your life easier? Are you emailing files to yourself so that you can print them from your desktop or laptop? The Xerox VersaLink and AltaLink lines of network printers and multifunction printers will natively print using your phone's built-in capabilities. Apple AirPrint and Google Cloud Printing just work. To order yours today, give us a call at 783-6600 or visit dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Spring is here and Breeden RV is having the first sale of the year. New inventory is arriving weekly and is immediately priced to sell. Just like new Keystone Springdale starting at $164 a month. Need something for your toys? Breeden RV has new toy haulers starting at $239 a month. And don't forget about the exclusive maintenance for life on all new RVs. Breeden RV also has the best selection of pre-owned RVs in the River Valley. Fully prepped and ready to camp. Give the service department a call at 479-262-2418 and get your RV ready for a great year. Breeden RV, where adventure begins. See dealer for complete details.
Get back in there at once and sell!
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Shelter Insurance agents Ted McAvoy in Greenwood or Jeff Clark in Fort Smith about a free insurance review.
Let Carco Car Sales, formerly Hertz Car Sales, show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car. Carco Auto Sales has been serving the River Valley in eastern Oklahoma for over 40 years and believe in fair prices, superior service, and treating people right. The friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help you find the car you deserve, priced right to fit your budget, so you can leave with a peace of mind knowing that you are getting a quality, well-maintained vehicle. Come see the team at Carco Auto Sales, formerly Hertz Car Sales, at 2810 Midland Boulevard today. Give them a call at 783-1722 or check them out at buyfromcarco.com. Carco Auto Sales, when you're ready.
Finding an assisted living or senior care facility is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. Choose the best. Hopes Creek in Van Buren. At Hopes Creek, your loved one will be in apartment-style living, eating 3 home-style meals daily, and receive the care and services they need. The round-the-clock nursing staff monitors health needs in a secure, monitored environment. Plus, you can check on your loved one anytime with 24-hour access. Stop by for a visit at 2502 Fayetteville Road, or check out Hopes Creek online at hopescreek.com.
NWA Gold and Silver has moved to a new location in Fort Smith at 4600 Rogers Avenue across from Med Express. NWA Gold and Silver is always buying gold and silver, scrap, bullion, and coins. Plus, NWA Gold and Silver buys and sells jewelry of all kinds. Diamond rings, wedding bands, engagement rings, earrings, and more. Bring in your gold or silver today to the people that pay the most and have the best deals. NWA Gold and Silver in their new location at 4600 Rogers Avenue across from Med Express in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey! It's now or never. Come hold me tight. Kiss me, my darling. Be mine tonight.
Find us on 99.5 and 1290 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs in Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett.
Great day to be at Joe's Grilling Cantina today with a Monday special, Mexicali with 2 sides for only $10. You get a chicken breast topped with sauteed spinach, poblano cream sauce, and queso fresco cheese. Also a couple of cheese enchiladas topped with salsa especial. Just $5 for an ultimate margarita, $2 for your swirls. That's at Joe's Grilling Cantina in Fort Smith. And they'll have Razorback sports on the TV this week, with men's basketball in the SEC tournament Friday, baseball getting into a series Thursday, and whenever they got Razorback sports on the TV at Joe's, half-price apps and taps. Go to joesportsmith.com. You can order there. Also order using the Waiter app, or just show up at Joe's Grilling Cantina across from the Harps in Fort Smith. 877-377-6963. Any calls or questions as we wrap up this edition of Halftime? Most annoying fans. We've got stuff coming up here about banning the shift. I had a lot of ideas about that. I saw an interesting show yesterday on Apple TV that I think I'm going to be getting into, and it's called Severance. Would it work? Have you seen this?
I've heard of it. Yes, yeah. I've been meaning to watch it. It's on my list. I have too many shows as it is right now, so maybe I'll be able to get it to it in a few weeks, but It's definitely right up there. It's on there.
I don't have enough time for watching a ton of shows, so this one looks like it's good enough to invest some time in.
Mm-hmm.
And it poses a very interesting question that would not work, I think, for people in radio because it's a public job. This company that the main characters work for, the employees that work on this specific floor undergo a surgery that is called severance, where their memory is split in their brain, and they do not, when they're working, they have no idea who they are in real life, who they're married to, where they live, anything like that.
Oh.
When they're in real life, they don't know anything about their work life, so it's a complete split. Like we'll always say, you don't bring work home with you, right? Yeah, don't take your problems from home to work, and this has essentially done that. But man, these people have no idea who they are. I don't think they even know what year they're living in or what's going on in the real world, and it just kind of poses a very interesting dilemma.
Would you want to separate your lives like that?
Yeah, like if I wanted to go home this weekend and then they decided to like change the start times or postpone a baseball game, once the pregame started.
I mean, you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't be able to do it. No, because I left work here.
You might sign up for
Maddie, here's the thing. Like Maddie is always on call. Like you're never not off work, Maddie. Like your work life is your regular life. I don't think this like you. If you had your separated your thing separated here, I don't know if your body would be able to handle it.
I don't think so. I wouldn't know what to do.
Even if I
might be able to sleep well at night.
Yeah, you probably would sleep a little better. That's right. I think I would too.
But let's say we had normal 9-to-5 jobs, that we were average Joe people out there.
I mean, I still do work 9 to 5, but I also have all this other crap to deal with.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
Clock in, clock out.
Yeah, punch the clock.
Punch the clock. No emails after 5 o'clock type of job. I don't know if I would be okay with knowing that for 8 hours a day, I don't know what I'm doing, or that I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing for the other 16. Like that would just. I don't think I could mentally get to that point where I'd want to fully separate those two parts of my life.
Wouldn't you say most people, no matter what jobs they have, that they still communicate throughout the day through text message, with their loved ones and stuff?
Absolutely. Now you do. Used to be a time you had to write them a letter with your hand in the middle of work, and it would arrive 3 days later. There's too many of us, and I'm included in it. And for years, my work life was also regular life. I mean, that's what working in sports does for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear all these coaches that sleep on couches and whatnot. There is no work-life balance. Work is life in that case. I think for most coaches, really, I mean, there's a lot of sacrifice that families have to give in order for coaches to bust their asses as hard as they do. And there is no real, I think, ability to really balance that out. It's just a lot of give from the rest of the family members. So if you split the work and the life together, there's nothing left.
There's nothing left there for the family. Exactly. And, even doing this job, a lot of people that wives and other loved ones have had to sacrifice for people in this line of work. And, it's something that takes a strong person to be able to do that. And I appreciate that. And I don't think I'd want to, for half of my day, forget that person. And like Maddie said, like how weird would that be? You'd have to have two different phones. Like you couldn't walk around the same phone. Like as soon as I walk in that door, I have no idea who I am, my parents are, my girlfriend is, and I look down and there's actually right now there's 4 or 5 text messages from my girlfriend.
What about all of those
She's
people
wondering where you are?
Yeah, exactly. What are they thinking from 9 to 5 every day when they can't get a hold of you?
She's not like triple text me. She's just one of those people that instead of putting it all in one long text, she just like
breaks it up into 72 different
by sentences. And I'm more of a novelist, I guess, when it comes to that.
I mean, there are some games that I've called where I leave the arena or the ballpark and think, you know what, I'd really like to forget that one.
Oh, of course.
Maybe
there's plenty of those.
You could have selective severance in some cases for sports people. All right, we've made it to the end of the show.
We did it. Good job, everybody.
We're severing ourselves from you for the next 22 hours. We're back with you at 11 o'clock tomorrow with all this great stuff. For Drew and Maddie, I'm Phil. Have a great rest of your Monday. Now get up, get out, and get better.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith.